So as I was saying, here's Mr. Elise Drumgo, a good friend of mine I just happened to bump into maybe a few years back. And he's been nothing but a hand, an arm, a arm for information, and just willing to help anybody that I've ever come in contact with, getting them going in the direction of getting involved into, commercial real estate or whatever it takes to help the community. So that brings me to my next point, next question with Mr. Elise Drumgo. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to actually interview you and ask you a little bit more about what the CRA is.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. A lot of people don't really know about what we do. We kind of like a hidden gem in the city. So anytime I can sit down with folks and just, talk about what we do and how we might be able to help, like it's a win for me. So I'm in for it.
Awesome. So with that being said, what actually is the CRA, or Community Redevelopment Association, and what is it all about?
Yeah, so the CRA is basically it's an agency, right? And we have some special districts in which we invest in areas of need. So we have 3 CRAs in Lakeland. Each one of them have their own funds. And Dixieland CRA basically covers the South Florida Avenue, that whole corridor from about Lime Street to Ariana. So it's strictly commercial corridor. And then we have a downtown CRA, which is pretty big. It covers everything from RP Funding Center over to Lake Mirror, and just right around the bypass. So, that's a pretty huge district, a lot of opportunities in there. And then we have the Midtown District, which is my favorite to work in. That's where the neighborhoods are at. That's where the people are at that really need help. So, it's about 4,400 acres. That thing is huge. So it's tough to really have an impact. We go as far to the west as like Jewel Avenue neighborhood. We go all the way up to I-4, and then we go out to the east near Ingram. So, it's pretty big, man, big district. And, each one has its own trust fund. So, it's set up by Florida statute is the way it's set up. And so we can only spend money in those areas. So for Dixieland, we have a small budget. It's only really about $350,000 a year.
Oh, wow.
For our downtown. It's about 1.5, almost $2 million. But then for Midtown CRA, it's close to $4 million. So,
awesome.
We got a lot of money to invest in the neighborhood.
So what's the function? Like, what's kind of examples of ways you would invest in the neighborhood?
Yeah, well, we're an arm of the city, right? So a lot of people don't realize it. They think the CRA is separate, but we're part of the city. We just operate with those separate budgets because we have to invest the dollars specifically in those districts, So in the neighborhoods, we historically have had residential projects where we would give away down payment assistance to folks who need it. They're trying to buy homes in the Midtown area. So, that's what we try to do is promote that home ownership and help people kind of live the dream. I know that between, I want to say maybe 2016 and 2020, we gave out probably 500 and maybe $500,000 in down payment assistances. And that wasn't even including what we did in Lincoln Square. So, we put a lot of money out there to help people buy houses.
Wow. So you're promoting home ownership by, giving down payment assistance
that's right.
for new qualifying home buyers. And just quickly, I know that program gets real deep. How could somebody leverage that program or be qualified for something like that?
Yeah, so we have our partnership with our housing division where, they specifically focus on housing and affordable housing initiatives. And so we contract with Keystone. And if you go to Keystone Challenge Fund's website, they actually will show the funding availability because they handle those agreements for a lot of different, they do it for the county and they may do it for other cities too. But if you go on the Keystone Challenge Fund website, it's easy to connect with their staff, and then they'll help you through home buyers class. You have to go through some coursework, pre-qualify and things like that. But it is income restricted, and so people have to realize, it's not. You can't just walk in there if you're well paid or you're a doctor or something like that.
Yes,
so,
making 6 figures.
Yes, sir. So it's income restricted. We're trying to help the people who need it the most.
I think I had a couple buyers actually go through the program. So it's not the lowest of poverty line. It actually is like what they call moderate income. So
that's correct. That's correct.
Somewhere around 30,000 or so. You know, it's a good opportunity to take advantage of getting to a new home
That's
and
right.
get some assistance using FHA funds. Credit is a little bit on the lenient side, so it's a great opportunity to get into. I mean, you guys are partnering with new construction builders as well.
Yes. Yes.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I've actually got some partners, construction guys, you know, that are in this group.
Yeah, so we put together the CRA, you know, we buy property often. And the reason for that is because in areas where we call them blighted, where you got rundown buildings, rundown properties, you know, a lot of folks, unfortunately, they pass away and, you know, they don't take care of the properties or they don't rightfully pass it to an heir. So, you know, we have to go in there and buy them sometimes and clear them out. And then we have all these vacant lots in our communities, right? So, you'll drive through and you'll just see missing teeth up and down the blocks. And so what we do is we go in, we'll acquire them, and we put them in what we call a land bank. And in that land bank, we want to make sure that folks who come in, they're going to build affordable housing. And the reason for that is because we don't want the neighborhood to get gentrified, right? You start pushing out the people who've lived there for all those years. So we want to make sure that the builders coming in will build affordable. So what has to happen now, folks who want to buy in, they have to register as an affordable housing contractor, affordable housing builder, and they have to register on housing division. Like the applications are actually online. If you go to lakelandglb.net, and we have a connect to our community economic development and then to housing, all those packages of information are there. You can download them, submit them to the housing division, and they'll help you get certified as a builder. And the cool thing about that is that you get a discount on the lots. So where you would typically go in and pay full price for a vacant piece of property, you get that discounted up front because that's the thing that, unfortunately, it holds back affordable construction at times.
Correct.
You know, that land value. So we reduce that.
Land value.
That's right.
Y'all was a hidden
right.
cost.
That's right. They're very hidden costs, and so they add up. And so what we're trying to do is make sure that we help on the impact fee side if you sell to someone in the affordable income range, and we want to kind of forgive that land cost over time. So it's a win-win for the builders, it's a win-win for the community and folks who are trying to buy houses at an affordable rate.
What kind of cap do you have on resale values for programs like that?
Yeah, so we base it on like a county rate. It increases every year. Right now, we're looking for houses in like $165,000 range. So, that's something that we try to stick by, and that we want to keep that at the cap, right? So if you can build and come in under that, great. And then you have a little bit more room for your profit margin, but we definitely want to cap those values.
Yeah, because we got affordable housing. I mean,
that's
right. Be affordable.
That's right. And you can layer that too, right? So if you get an affordable builder come in, then you get an affordable buyer. I mean, they can come in and they can get that down payment assistance too. So it's just like all those various layers that you can use to be able to get folks into these houses.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We buy a ton of property, and what we do is we put the properties out in rounds, so gotta be paying attention to when we'll release the lot list that's available.
What are you looking like? What's the next cycle?
Well, right now they're just now getting to issuing the contracts for the first cycle. So once they do that, then we'll jump into the second. It's a lot of people who came in for lots on the first round. Yeah. So it takes a little bit of time to execute those agreements, get them transferred, and get them in place. So, and we don't want, listen, if you're a builder and you're listening out there, we don't want you to come in and buy property and then sit on it. We make sure we put a clause in there that we can claw it back if necessary. And we want you to be successful with it, but we want to make sure that we see some development on those sites.
Oh, that's good. Almost like a shotgun clause, if you will.
That's right.
Awesome.
That's right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we need it, as the areas that you are investing in is traditionally, historically, what's been what you would call high impact, or what's the word? HOLC used to uses high risk areas back in the day,
right.
which typically is minority owned communities. And so what we're seeing is a shift in the demographic and financially. So
That's
it's
right.
important that we preserve the properties and have an
Mm-hmm.
equitable opportunity at a stake in this shift of wealth that's happening in our city. So we really appreciate what you guys are doing, is giving us opportunity to have home ownership in our communities and control our values. It's really, really huge.
Yes.
So what kind of projects have you guys worked on? Big projects, small projects? And what kind of projects are you guys got coming down the line that we should look out for?
So, well, before we jump into the projects, I want to tell you about the commercial incentives too, because it's not just the residential stuff.
Gotcha.
So, if you're a commercial property owner, and we have it on specific target corridors that we're trying to hit on, so like Memorial Boulevard, Martin Luther King, North Florida, Lakeland Hills, like those, Kathleen Road, those major thoroughfares where we'll provide grant funding to people doing renovations or new construction. You filling in some of those lots, or you buy a building and you need it renovated and you need some dollars to kind of move that along. We provide matching grants for you to be able to do that. So
what do you mean by matching grants?
Yeah, so I'll give you an example. We work with Lorenzo Robinson, and he's big out in the community. Yeah, and so he's got a building that he's renovating right now. Well, Mr. Robinson bought this building. He came in, he had a budget, and unfortunately, it was ridiculous. So we looked at the numbers with him and with his contract, and we say, you know what, let us provide you with some matching funds. So Mr. Robinson had some money to put on the table, and I'll just throw it out there and say, say if the number is $50,000, well, we like to do a 50% match. So in other words, you would get reimbursed that money at the end of your project, right? So you spend 50. Is
that the cash or is that the loan value?
Oh, we cut the check on the money you invest in the building.
Oh, wow. So not just the cash on cash return, but like the overall project.
Yeah. So if you invest $100,000, we'll send you back 50. Right.
Awesome.
And so we have some specific items that we will reimburse. So, we got the fine print in there, but it's fairly easy to operate. And then we also have some funds available for like food related businesses, restaurants, things like that, little cafes. So, it really is like a hidden opportunities there for people who struggle getting renovations off the ground, because when you buy an old building, that's the one thing that keeps you from getting it back online.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I've actually, I've been a part of some small commercial transactions in that district, like off 5th Street. We've talked about it before in the past. Yes. And I think some of those buildings are a little bit too far inside of neighborhoods to take advantage of opportunities like this. So you guys are really looking for things that are more on the major roads, the more common streets, right?
It's funny you say that because I saw that as a major issue, right? Is that we were too restrictive on those funds, and it was limiting the ability to support some of the businesses internal to the community. And so those businesses, they're integral, right? Like they serve the people who are immediately in those areas. And so right now we're getting ready to take some grant revisions to my advisory board actually next week, so that we can loosen the restrictions and allow people within the neighborhoods with businesses to get some of those funds.
That's huge. That's huge because actually I have talked to an investor, a guy from DC, and there's some land in that area. The guy wants to come in and put some schools in, and they want to put a daycare and just different things that would support the community. But it would be nice to have some help because you go before the DRT, and DRT is just like a review process with the city. Well, they spit it out. You got to have an architect on hand, and just to get the building up and going, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes.
That's
just
right.
to get these plans, and get everything rocking and rolling. So it's nice to have that kind of support from the city to help minority home ownership as well as business entrepreneurship.
We're trying to help get them online.
So what's the projects you guys have worked on, and what you got coming? I'm excited to hear what you got coming.
Yeah, well, so what's online what we just finished up. I mean, I think a lot of people know about Lincoln Square. We built 21 houses over by Lincoln Academy. I think what people don't know is that most of the people who moved in there were from the neighborhood. They lived in the apartments that were there before. So it was kind of like a homecoming ceremony for a lot of those folks.
That's awesome.
But then also, I would say the the community is probably 95%, minority, right? So
Yeah.
getting people back in that community, we sold the houses for below market value so that we can make sure that people had the equity in the house.
And why do they have equity? Like I cut
Yeah.
out a friend of mine house
Yeah.
not too long ago, and he's in the twos because of the new construction that recently sold on 9th Street. And it's comparable to that. So those guys are,
Rose up.
I mean, I mean, you guys sold it to them for like 135,000, I think those units were going for.
I'm sorry, you froze up for a minute, but yeah. So you said you had a friend in there.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
just recently ran some comps for him. And so
Yeah.
you got some
Yeah.
new resales going on 9th Street, selling for like 235. Well,
Yes.
those new Lincoln Square units are comparable to that. So,
Yes.
I mean, we're talking these units are worth 205,000. That, I mean, I think these guys got for like 135 or something like that.
Yeah, man. They got them for 125, and we gave them. Hold on 1 second. Let me let the dogs finish real quick.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, man, we sold those houses for 125, and we gave them $25,000 of down payment assistance on top of that. So really, they're financing
100,000.
$100,000. Yeah, it's folks over there with mortgage payments in the $500 range.
So
So
that's amazing.
yeah, and they got $100,000 in equity, right? And
Wow.
when you consider that in an area
That's
that's
life changing.
right, it's impoverished. A lot of the people coming back, we do have what we call, we got like a little covenant on it where they can't tap into that money for a decade, so we don't want people just pulling equity out of the house
Yeah.
right away. But, 10 years from now, those houses will be worth, 250 and up.
Correct.
So folks will be able to start new businesses. They'll be able to send their kids to college on that.
I think that's key what you just said. Since, we're in the business of educating.
Yes.
I think I love what you just said. They'll be able to start new businesses, right?
That's right.
Because you don't necessarily have to sell your house to capture the equity, do you?
You do not. No.
So someone in that neighborhood could eventually use their equity to start a new business in the community shortly
That's
down
right.
the road.
Absolutely.
Oh,
And so
man,
that's a lot of equity, over 20 houses. And when you talk about $100,000 in equity today, that's $2 million that we've now transferred in equity to all those residents that live there. So, yeah, that one was a win. It felt good. We got a lot of flack for it, but sometimes that's what you have to do, right? You got to take it to be able to give it. So
that's it. That's
yeah,
it. You got to fight for what's right. And I
that's right.
appreciate you guys fighting a good fight. That's
For
huge,
sure.
major. And we need more of that. And so we definitely love what you guys are doing. So with that being said, in the process of doing, what's coming down the pike?
Oh, what's coming? So we've got a project with Sally. I don't know if you know Dr. Brisbane Stone. And Dr. Brisbane is just passionate about community work. She's passionate about helping lift folks up by the bootstraps and really give people resources to change their lives. And so we've partnered with her to build a new building. It'll be on the corner of Parker and Tennessee. So it'll be right in the Parker Street neighborhood, just off of Florida Avenue, 4,700 square foot building. It'll be a business incubator, have a little podcast room, have some seating out there for folks who have small businesses or want to go in and kind of have that as their workspace, and have those resources, get business advice, and have some classes within that space too to help entrepreneurs so that they feel comfortable going into that space. You see people who look like you, who will be able to help you answer your questions and guide you to resources, and there'll be some partnerships with Dr. Brisbane and some of the other organizations like the Chamber, maybe Catapult, but at the same time, those things will be driven by the Well. And that's what the name of her business is. So it's called the Well. You go to the Well.
Conversations kicked around about that project. I love it. But I also hear the why do we need another catapult conversation?
Sure.
But I can see why it's important to promote minority business
Right.
And that's I think we have to be intentional about correcting that piece of our history.
Hmm.
So, and especially locally, and
That's
people,
right.
and I think Catapult is a great, awesome building, and it has a market that it targets. But I think that
Hmm.
we tend to work with folks or know people that are looking like us, or and just giving and being closer demographically to the community also makes a huge
That's
impact.
right.
So I think that's an awesome project. What else you guys got you working on?
Man, we got the apartments, Muriton. They're coming online right by the police station. 305 apartments. Those things will be up and running soon. They've got a few tenants living in there now, but that's a developer out of Tampa. $60 million invested in the city of Lakeland. Providing some more residential opportunities, a little bit on the high end because we're trying to get that downtown feel, to make sure that folks feel like they have those amenities to live close to the core. And then you get those dollars they spend in your downtown too. So little things like that, they make a huge difference to the downtown merchants down there.
I rode through the like around that community. It's right next to the joinery on the other side of the street. I mean, that
That's right.
thing, I'm not gonna lie. Like if I had a smaller family concept, if I
Yes.
wasn't expanding, that'd be something I seriously would be considering. It's a beautiful, beautiful development that's going right there, right near downtown. The
Yeah.
Muriel development. It's beautiful.
Yeah. We love it. We love getting those people down that will hang out at the joinery. We actually kicked into the joinery. CRA contributed to that project. We built a food truck park, Yard on Mass, right on the corner of Massachusetts and Parker Avenue. You see it when you're coming down, getting into downtown.
Yeah.
That's Lakeland's first food truck park. I want to say probably Polk County's too. So, it's a nice establishment. Folks in there are good people. They're from Lakeland, but they had a similar concept in Colorado, and so they wanted to bring business back to Lakeland. We helped them get it up and running. So, food truck park is there. It's a good hangout. So please go kick it at the Yard on Mass if you have some time.
I've been there. I've seen quite a few different trucks in there.
Hmm.
Most of them, the interesting thing is most of the trucks I know that I've seen are from our community right here. So that's an
That's
awesome
right.
thing as well.
They
Uh,
do. Yeah, they
yeah,
try to book local talent. That's something
yeah,
about them is they see the benefit of really keeping the dollars in the community. So
yeah.
they're
I love
smart
that
about
part
that.
as well. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
nice venue, really nice venue. I've been there for, they had like some fight nights and different things going on outside,
Hmm.
concerts outside. So with COVID
That's right.
going on, it's a good use of open space.
That's right. That's right. We're finishing up a path. It's actually a bike path. So a lot of folks don't know that we also work in infrastructure. Stormwater improvements to help with flooding in communities. We put in new sidewalks. We did a full sidewalk on Kettles Avenue. We're doing sidewalk on West 14th Street out by Providence Road. Those are significant projects because folks living in older communities, they don't necessarily have sidewalks. They don't have that connectivity. Kids walking in the street,
Mm,
standing at the bus stop in the dirt, stuff like that, where
mm.
it's just really important for us to go back and fill those gaps. So, we have a lot of those little projects sprinkled in there. The path that we did on Lake Parker, it's an art walk. So if you get down to Lake Parker, you're going kind of up around Tiger Town, you'll see it's a path. We put out some shade structures because the people in the community really didn't have anywhere to sit out of the sun. They would just go down to the lake and hang out and really not be able to enjoy it. So we put the walking path out there. It also doubles as a bike path. It's nice and wide. And then we worked with the school board to get the kids to do some art for the project. So, I mean, it's just really creative. It's really cool. And I think those are the things you'll start to see us do more of is collaborating with artists and integrating art into the city because, that's culture. Art is culture. Art helps redevelopment. And why not, right? If you're renovating a building, you build a new building, let's talk about putting art on it. And then you stimulate that foot traffic. You get people to come hang out.
The artists in the community listening to this this conversation we're having right now. How can they connect with you guys on a project on the art stimulus?
Listen, it just so happens we are doing a focused art project in Dixieland. So we're trying to put 100 murals up in Dixieland. And all you have to do, you go on our website, you can submit your portfolio, lakelandcra.net. And then we have a little link. It's called Cafe. Yeah, lakelandcra.net is called Cafe. You go in, click into that thing, and you can go in, you can submit your portfolio, and then we pair you with a business owner if they like your art, and then CRA will fund the mural. So, you know, it's an easy way for us to get the art out there while also working with the business owners to make it easy on them.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are covering so many different facets of improving the community. I'm glad to have known you. I mean, every time I see you on the scene, you're out in the community, getting to know new people. Always asking Daryl, who do you know? How can you? I mean, you're always networking and shaking. And I mean, I couldn't think of a better president to direct this ship. At least you've done a great job so far with the CRA. I just want to commend you on that.
Well, I appreciate that, man. It's been, you know, Nicole Travis was a beast. You know, she did this before me, and she moved on to be the director of our department of community development. So, you know, she's got a lot of, I would say, that drive that she kind of left with us and said, you know, we're all steering the thing in the same direction. So let's keep doing the good work, and you know, we just keep pushing the envelope, seeing what we can do, seeing what works, listening to what the people need. And, you know, I just encourage people to reach out. You know, that's the thing is don't feel like you can't call us, because you can call us, you can email. If you see us on the street, you know, some of the project managers in my office, they're out and about in the community too. Like COVID has hurt us a little bit because we can't spend time with people and spend that face time. We don't have neighborhood meetings like we used to, right? So all those things are kind of hindering our ability to connect with people. So, you know, I appreciate you for having the cast here and letting me really talk to the people and say, come talk to us, come hang out with us.
Well, we appreciate to have you on, man. Well, guys, you heard it. That is Mr. Elise Drumgo, president of the CRA right here in our city. There's so much more that the CRA has to offer that you have to go to the website to check out for the art community, residential community, commercial community, investor community. Yep. They are really shaking things up right here in 2021. So we thank you guys for tuning in to the conversation. As always, move it, Daryl.
All right. Thanks.